Greeting. This sunny day is 305 Circle Brotherhood. We're at the racial justice table trying to figure out, man, how we could get our small boots on the ground organizations to get funded. Because a lot of us boots on the ground, we do most of the work, but we're not getting funded. And we got people that getting the most funding that's doing the less work. So we're here at the South Florida Racial Justice Table to come up with a think tank to figure out how people and organizations with boots on the ground can get funded properly.
Securing Black folks' well-being, we'll be back to doing our work with very limited funding options, right? That's a problem.
Building our organizations, then we're not building our organizations to say stuff. And so I really mean it as a victory. So now this South Florida racial justice thing, first of all, birthed during COVID. Now, y'all don't understand what I'm saying. Not some, all of our initial organizing meetings, all of our initial work together was online. But here's why you need to understand that great feat. So I'm gonna have a hat on, I'm gonna take it off to this sister right here about cool.
Yes.
You need to understand something. So you all understand that people invest in Black movements on the height of Black death. You don't get that?
That's it.
So on the height of the death of George Floyd, many institutions and organizations began sharing funds. Some of it was out of guilt, some of it was out of awakening, some of it was out of reckoning. And I don't have a hat on again, but I want to take my hat on to the Miami Foundation. Not necessarily knowing the full breadth of everything to do, but knowing something needs to be done. Yes, the Miami Foundation, they found 9 Black-led organizations that said, here's $5,000. Right? Why am I sharing that with you? Because how rare is it? Y'all know we usually fight over money, y'all know that? Y'all know we usually fight over money, forced to compete for the same funds and all those kind of things. But we decided that this was bigger than us. And we were tired of our organizations coming to the table, getting a check, and going our own little way, and still not having enough resources to do the work that needs to be done. But that kind of commitment from individuals who are running organizations, you all really need to salute those founding members of the South Florida Racial Justice Table, because they're doing things that other people aren't doing around across the country. And while some of it is being done across the country, we here in Florida. I don't know. I'll pause there.
I think V really led us there. Our Miami Worker Center does empower you also. We have a space. We own the land. There's currently me and V were actually just on a text message thread. There is a plan to develop our community without us, to make Liberty City just like Doral City Place from 12th Avenue to 7th, if you're familiar with the area. High rises, high shops, you name it, everything without us. And so I think that our ability to invest in space, I think infrastructure matters a lot to movement. We don't talk about it enough. Our ability to have a place where people know they can always come. Movements won't be renting one place one day, be the next place the next day. They just know this is a space for movement. I think an investment in space is really key. I would be remiss if I didn't say an investment in staff and membership development. We need to pay our staff, but not even that. We need space for them to develop, right? To develop skills, to sharpen their leadership, and not only our staff, but our members, so that we be clear on our ideology. What is the systems that we're fighting? That takes financing, that takes investment. And so not only investment in the people on the ground, but also the staff, right? And so those are the things for me, people don't often think about it. Yeah, we need to grow our budgets, not just for the organization, but to keep our teams, right? Because things are pricey, right? We need to be able to, for them to afford to live here as well. So I think those are the things that we are not invested in. Land and staffing and membership development are the things I would say in my top two.
if I may, when we talk about bloodshed and the loss of life, we're not talking about selling pots and pans. We're not talking about the real estate industry. We're talking about bloodshed. And to know for an actual fact that if organizations that did community-based violence work here in Miami Dade, it would only take $162 million annually to fund those type of organizations properly. And I will personally guarantee you'll see gun violence dropping at 90%. The 90%. I was gonna say 100, but some of y'all just ain't seen the work.
Come on now.
The point I'm making is, and it's my last point on it, family, when you have collectives like this that come together, when we say move, we move. Okay. Just like that. Okay. Because the politicians ain't moving. Oh, they are. They're moving to get in the way of these type of things. And so, if we could fund that, we're just so close right now to having an opportunity to be able to have our violence prevention work for the first time in the history of the county, all the way from the south, going all the way up to Raleigh.
Yes. So I think one of the things I want to note that is unfunded is models of self-determination. And it's too often that we like to give people money to talk about these things, but nobody the resources to actually build the thing out, right? And the truth of the matter is the systems change work is going to always be important because America owes us a check, period. And we should always rattle that fence, okay? And those are our tax dollars too, period. And also, what do we have for ourselves when nobody want to give us nothing, okay? Because the people need housing right now. And people need food right now, people need health care right now, people need freedom right now. And I wonder, when are we prepared and ready to actually fund that work, right? I would love to see alternatives being funded long term, right? We have Dr. Armin Henderson, Dr. Do-It-All, the movement doctor. Y'all feel what I'm saying? I mean, for those who have not met him, I mean, you can go by the Circle Brotherhood and find them. You can probably go by the Worker Center and find them. You can find them at UM. You can find them at the Freedom Lab. And you can find him playing basketball and playing with his children afterwards. He's great. And just to see his work, and I see him invest his own money. That's right. He put up his own money. And a lot of times for us to build these alternatives, we have to put up our own money. And those of us who can, we sometimes go into debt. We sometimes sacrifice things that we were going to do for our families and things like that, for us to be able to set up these alternatives because we know how important they are. But when do we have a place for us to be able to have conversations to bring out the idea where it's like, oh, I had a light bulb moment, but I also have the historical experience to actually pull this off. If I actually had the resources, I was in the tech little game for just a tad bit, but they got on my nerves, you know? And what I saw was white tech children, I'm a youth, let me use that language, youth, paper napkins, pitching paper napkin ideas, but we got to come with a dissertation. Like, come on. I've seen the child in Liberty City build a whole gym out of a shipping container. Where is his investment? Dr. Armin built a clinic out of shipping containers, the only urgent care in our community, right? The Dream Defenders Circle Brotherhood, they have the Healing and Justice Mobile Crisis Unit. We have an alternative to 911. Yes, right now. Right now. Our government is not giving it to us, right? So when we are approaching philanthropy, when we say movement lawyers, we need our justice system in place to help navigate us through these systems. We are some of the most impacted communities of HIV/AIDS, right? We need more resources to do those things. And let's be clear, if it wasn't for Black people, it won't be an HIV/AIDS movement. If it wasn't for Black people, it wouldn't be no land movement. If it wasn't for Black people, it wouldn't be no social justice. Hello. Somebody. Come on, give it time. Because the truth of the matter is we have been fighting for a very long time on the front lines. There have been people here before us who have guided us to these different mechanisms. And what we do know is that the people who have the wealth still have it. It don't matter if it was 100 years ago or right now. These same families with the same dollars. And what I want us to realize is that for the newer generation, if we can shift the way philanthropic money is moved to the ground, that will actually make a huge shift. So we're gonna open up for some Q&A.
Ebony, you gonna run the mic?
Yeah, go right ahead, Sandra. The first thing I'd like to say is you had two very, very unique examples about how to create unity among people where there's usually disunity. Because that's the core of the issue. And so I would examine people to take a closer look at the circle of brotherhood. Muslims, Christians, people who practice other type of religious practices, brothers from the streets who don't know nothing but the streets, brothers from the sweets who don't know nothing but the sweets, alpha males, but it's one brother, one hood. That needs to be examined. See, because I think the core issue you're talking about, that we should be unified together in our work and in our walk. But our unity doesn't fall out the sky because our disunity was actually a very successful scientific practice. Look at the South Florida racial justice table. Do you know how rare it is for organizations that are doing different work, different things, different funding streams? But when we come together, we put the table first. And my last point is this. If I were to feel excluded from a community that I thought I should belong in, I would also take the proper weight and responsibility to do the most important thing that's going to guarantee a win. Take the lead in building relationships. Because relationships supersede everything else. Sometimes we have to be the ones to take the lead on building those relationships.
So for the South Florida Racial Justice Table, the $10 million is really about a couple of things. The first thing that it's about is about creating an incubator, a space for Black-led organizations to be able to go from good to great, right? Just like Sandra mentioned in the tech space and in the entrepreneurial space, there are all of these places where people can take their little idea and they can be infused with resources, training, coaches, all the things, opportunities to pitch big rooms of funders, and they can go from good to great. Now more than ever, that's what our organizations need. We need to be invested in not just dollars, but also with development opportunities, right? To fortify. That's the word that you used, Andrea, that stood out to me. To fortify our organization, we want to do that. We want to re-grant. We want to put money in the pockets, in the bank accounts of our organizations, our Black-led organizations that are doing a host of different work. We want to put money directly into folks' bank account. Large, unrestricted, multi-year funding based in trust and respect. That's what we want to do. We also want to be an intermediary between, and this is what I was getting ready to do, so you preempted after lunch that I was going to give you all of this, but I'll give you a little bit now. We want to be an intermediary because, like Brother Lau mentioned, there are many philanthropic institutions that are just trying to figure it out. And they just lack proximity to us, just like we lack proximity to them. We don't know how to reach them, and they don't know how to reach us. So the South Florida Racial Justice Table seeks to sit as a bridge, right? As a bridge, so that we can support philanthropic institutions that are trying to figure out how to be in these difficult conversations, trying to figure out how to do better, who want to do better, who are doing the hard work, but need support getting proximal to our people who are on the ground. That South Florida Racial Justice Table comes in to do that, to support that work. And then there's one more thing. I'm missing it, but it's in my notes and it'll be shared after lunch today. But those for the South Florida Racial Justice Table, those are 3 of our 4 major goals, is really wanting to do those things. And those things are not happening.
That's right.
Can I just say, like, to the specific points in terms of each organization, we would apply, just like everyone else, to the funding. So it's not like you get $1 million, you get $1 million, you get $1 million. We would be applying alongside our brother and sister organizations to, whatever our innovative ideas might be, in the same way that our other folks would be. Right?
30 seconds. Because I think at the core of that is a trust thing.
Yeah.
And we don't care, we don't get a penny of it. Matter of fact, 10 million is a penny.
Okay.
And as you all allow us and work with us to build the infrastructure of this thing that's growing called the South Florida Racial Justice Table, it will be strong enough to go after the billions that we need to do this work. And we should have trust issues. But don't worry about that. We know how to deal with that. We know where to deal with that. If money is a trust issue, how many of y'all willing to put your life on the line over stealing? Because we'll kill you. I said something wrong. Oh, that was wrong form. But what I'm saying is that we've been stolen from, we've been robbed from, we come together, people cheat, they split up money, they make deals, and it makes our people cold and disheartened. Perfect example. This past countywide election, only 20% of those eligible to vote voted. That means 80% are apathetically fed up and don't trust a damn thing. I stand by trusting the table. I just want to say that.
Yes, thank you. I want to acknowledge that August is Black Philanthropy Month, right? So perfect convening. Black Philanthropy Month. We want to highlight that, yes, Black folks do give a larger percentage of our income than any other community. And also, we also want to highlight that we are grossly underfunded, because like I said before, only 1.8% of all philanthropic dollars nationally go to Black folks. So I just want to lift up that Black Philanthropy Month is important for us to acknowledge. Now, at the Black Future Co-op Fund, I'll tell you what we're starting to do is not just move money to organizations, but to individuals. So in honor of Black Philanthropy Month, we are giving 20 Black leaders across the state of Washington $100,000, right? We're actually going to gross it up to $130,000 so they don't have a tax burden. I read that.
And that's exactly why, the table has been around since 2020, and it's 2024, and we're still here. And a part of the reason why we're still here is because we're motivated by exactly what you're talking about. We are so clear about what the need is. And we're in a space now of really serious mobilization. So we've been in a lot of ideation, we've been in a lot of trying to figure it out, and now we're in a space of time to move. Time to get the dollars in the bank, time to make the direct asks, and time to get clear on our design of how we're going to be supporting our organizations on the ground. So I think the quick answer is we have still a lot to figure out. And the invitation is for folks who have the motivation and the time and the interest and the energy to join us as we're sorting it out. But know that it's go time, okay? So the table is in a space of is go time. And together, as we work together, we'll sort out all the particulars of how we're going to support who. But know that at the center of what we're interested in is what I named being an incubator, being a space that is going to really nurture, fortify, I'm gonna keep using that word, fortify, grow and support our organizations on the ground beyond the dollars. Yeah, beyond the dollars.
I'm sorry, I know, I just have to say that. People have asked us, there are questions that are asked of Black leaders that are not asked of our counterparts. They want it already fully cooked, on the table, and what we're saying is we're asking for a different process for us to invest in the building out of this table. And so some of the questions that might be asked today We're figuring it out, and that's okay. Because people are giving proposals on napkins at a dinner table and getting millions, and that's okay, right? And so I think that I want to say that because it could look messy, and I don't also want us to lean into trust, right? Because I trust Black people. Like I'm putting my money on Black people every time, right? Right? Because my mama made it happen on nothing, right? And so like I had to say it because people are gonna want us to have the full plan, the full dissertation. We ain't got it. We need you to invest in it so we can give it to you.
That's it.
Because we
Right. Funders usually sit in one of three spaces. They ain't never gonna give me nothing, never gonna give me nothing, never gonna give me nothing. There's another group of funders that are just ignorant. I don't mean ignorant in a negative way, meaning they really want to help and support, but they really don't know how. So that third category is we don't mind the ones who are ignorant, but if you still got a little hint of that arrogance that comes from understanding what white supremacy does to create an imbalance, then you'll never make the change. Why do I say that? Quick example. I want to give a shout out to the Health Foundation of South Florida, who was introduced to our organization, the Circle of Brotherhood, through the South Florida Racial Justice Table. They came as students to learn. And since that time, they put about $2 or $3 million into Black maternity work with our women. They started an annual Black Health Summit. This past one, they focused on Black men. And they always come to us to follow our lead. Very last example, Catalan. Just before COVID hit, we were in works with negotiating a partnership with Google. Google's leadership development program was so powerful that it became an entity on its own. They realized how powerful our entity and our work was, and they realized they couldn't reach our community the way we could reach our community. Google was ethical enough in our partnership to say, you know what, here, and gave us the Catalan. And we received funding from Catalan, which is going to launch an annual transformation conference for some of the best Black and brown practitioners in transformation work in different parts of the country. And what am I saying? Family, part of fighting is educating the people you want to get money from. You can't always be throwing blows, you gotta be throwing some knowledge and then building those kind of power-based relationships. And I find if we concentrate on that population, that 100 million, it keeps growing. Now I'm thinking about billions.
Yes.
You know, but I just wanted to share those examples.
Yeah. Once you get to that US 1, people will forget the south of the wall all the time. And you know, Miami is a very big place. Florida City, Coconut Grove, Ghouls, Richmond Heights, Pride, full of Black people. Full of Black people. Homestead, full of Black people. And we act like only the Black people live in Northwest Central of Miami. And oftentimes, right, even we see how the government busts down the budget, like South Day doesn't exist. And I think just as we want to make sure that our trans brothers and sisters are to this table and we're focused, we want to also make sure that our Black brothers and sisters south of US 1 is a part of the conversation. So we hope that you take on the call to action to join us to make sure that we always remember. You know, because a lot of us are from the Northwest Central area in Miami-Dade County, and it's easy for us to, well, it's not okay, but it's easy for us to forget. So if you can just try your hardest to always make sure, just like Tati, every time you see Tati, she makes sure that queer, trans, non-binary folks are a part of the conversation. Remember, every single time I am asking you to be brave and take on the position and the posture of courage and just always make sure your people are a part of the conversation because honestly, y'all know the first black community was in South Dade in Miami-Dade County. Like that's where the blacks had to be. First, before it was a Liberty City, even before it was an Overtown. Actually, we had Coconut Grove. So we have to remember that the black culture in Miami actually started in the southern part of the county. And it's actually against what we stand for. We do not consider the racial injustices that are happening in South Dade. Okay, y'all, thank y'all so much. Thank y'all to the panelists, Sandra Dennis, Jacoby Delbert, Andrea Stevenson, and Brother Lal Muhammad. Thank y'all so much.
It's just been an awesome filled 2 days, starting with the summit held yesterday about philanthropy doing its part to support black-led organizations. We had some awesome national folk come in to support that, and then here today with our community-based violence intervention family, sowing the seeds for the advocacy work that we need to do, and also representing and making sure people like Carrie P. Meeks for the work they did get properly recognized. Miami-Dade County, it's our time, and it's time to build this ecosystem. We can't do it without the dollars, the resources, and we can't do it without you.
Greetings. This is Sunny Days 305 Degrees podcast. Our community said they wanted a platform that they could get their ideas and their messages out. Hence, Sunny Days 305 is on fire.